Hey, so I have an Andrew. He hasn't
Hey.
been here in a while. He also got Movie Pass.
Yeah.
In fact, he's the reason I got Movie Pass. And we both used Movie Pass to see the film Mother.
Yes.
There will be a lot of spoilers in this video. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch. However, if you think this is a movie you might see, please, please, please continue watching for a little bit, and then we'll tell you when you should stop. The very first thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna have Andrew read you the genre and description of Mother from IMDb.
So this is Mother, rated R, drama, horror, mystery. The description: a couple's relationship is tested when uninvited guests arrive at their home, disrupting their tranquil existence.
You just read that description. What's this movie about?
Well, I can tell you how I felt when I watched the trailer. How about that?
Okay.
So I said, oh, this looks like a really weird, eclectic horror film.
From the trailer, what I actually thought was that Jennifer Lawrence was being drugged by Javier Bardem's character. And that he had her on some sort of like medication or psychosis inducing thing and was like messing with her mind and making all of these things happen. The film itself is actually not that at all. It's definitely not a thriller. It's definitely not a horror film.
But it is shot like a horror film for
It
several
is.
scenes. But that's the problem with this film, is it's an art piece.
Yes, I would put this under
In
Yeah.
the art house
an art house film. It would be, if I had to put it in a genre, it would be an art house film.
I would have not put it in a wide release, honestly. This is a slight spoiler, but honestly,
You should know this.
you should
before
know
you
this
watch.
going in. The film is a giant allegory, and the reason it's called Mother is that Jennifer Lawrence's character is the embodiment of Mother Earth, and Javier Bardem's character is the embodiment of God. And
Everybody
else is humanity. I don't really want to spoil anything else.
So if you are interested in seeing Mother, now is a good time to stop this video and go see it, knowing that fact, and then come back. So now, heavy spoilers. First, we're going to briefly discuss marketing. I would have designed a very different trailer for this film, and it very clearly, I would be
more
interested
abstract.
in who designed the trailer and what they thought they were creating. And there is something to be said about marketing things a certain way to get people to attend, but I feel like this is such a wide disparity that it just makes people angry.
And boy, did it make people angry.
Yeah, it definitely made
I know a
people
lot
angry.
of people that were really upset that it wasn't the film close to what they thought they were going to pay to go see.
The film itself is, we discussed, is an allegory. It is about basically God's creation of man.
It's the book of Genesis. The first half, I'd say the first 75% of the film, they do some weird things with this. So the idea is that it's again, it's an allegory, so it's the interpretation as saying these like God and Mother Earth as like slightly modern day humans.
So one of the first things they say is that this is his house that burned down, and she is rebuilding it because it's where he grew up. Like it was his life, and he really, really likes this house, which is the world. So Mother Nature builds this house, and then he is a writer, a creator. Oh, wow. See what they did there? And this gentleman shows up who is a huge fan of his. We're going to call him Adam. And shortly after that, he brings his wife that he didn't tell anyone about. We're going to call her Eve. They come in, and Mother Nature is clearly uncomfortable but willing to be welcoming. They are sort of treating the house like their own. Eve makes a big mess in the kitchen. It becomes a big thing. And then their kids show up, because apparently Adam wrote one of them out of the will. Very clearly, Cain and Abel, especially when Cain kills Abel.
Should be noted that they're played by the Gleason brothers, Brennan and Donald Gleason.
Cain kills Abel, and then everybody leaves poor Mother alone in the house to clean everything up. God comes back, says that unfortunately the kid died. He seems really sad, but it seems like he's like, listen, I know this has been really hard for you, and that he's gonna start caring. And then she wakes up to discover that he's allowed them to have the wake at their place.
In their house. And there's tons of people showing up.
So many people.
And they keep coming in, like, as the scene progresses. So she goes upstairs. She finds people in her bedroom. This is one of my favorite things about the film, actually, throughout the rest of the good chunk of the movie, where she's like, this is my house, like, get out. And they're like, huh, okay, your house, right. And they leave, as in, like, this is our place now. We don't respect that this is your house. The allegory is pretty obvious, which I know we're going to go over later.
Yeah, we're doing it right now.
It becomes way more obvious from that point on in the film.
She throws a fit, gets really upset, and everyone leaves.
Well, they break the house. They actually break the sink is not balanced, and they keep bouncing on it. And they're like, see, it's fine. And then they break the literal pipes out, and then she screams, the whole place shakes, and everybody leaves.
Yep. And so she's fixing it up. Oh, she has a huge fight with God where she's like, I don't understand. You don't even sleep with me.
Then they have an uncomfortable sex scene on the stairway.
And then she wakes up in the morning and says she's pregnant. And he lights up, has this epiphany, runs away to start writing.
Which it has been noted he hasn't been able to write the entire film. Like, he's been trying to write and can't.
He gets really inspired. He starts writing. She fixes the house. It's 9 months later. She's super pregnant. And he finishes the poem. And he hands it to her. And she reads it. And she starts crying because it's so beautiful. And then he gets a call from his publisher who says, oh, it's brilliant. Everybody loves it. And you can see that mother is, like, devastated because she thought that he had, like, finished this and was giving it to her. And it turned out that he had already sent it to his publisher.
He's already spread the word.
And people start showing up to, like, praise the work. And God is loving it. Mm-hmm. And they just keep coming and coming and coming and coming. And
they start, like, filling in the house. And there's specific people that are now spreading the word of the poet.
People start taking things from the house. They say they want a piece of the poet. They want a piece
of the poet, what the poet had. They start ripping the phone out of the wall when she's trying to call 911.
Everybody's got this fervor. She's trying to get him to kick them out. And he goes, no, you know, they love me. They're great. They're wonderful. And it speeds up and suddenly it's a war zone. And a few different times, like, there is a human who's trying to protect Mother Earth. But she is trying desperately now. She's done. She's finished. And she's desperately now in the wreckage of this world trying to crawl to get out. And that's when God shows up. Yeah. And she's like, I want to leave. And he's like, no, stay. I
have somewhere for us to go. So they go up to the office, which had been boarded off, which we'll talk about soon. And then
they stay there. She gives birth to the kid.
Yes.
But at this point, she doesn't trust God at all. And she's like, it's my child. And he's like, I want to see him. And she's like, no, it's my kid. It's my child. You can't have him.
He's like, I'm the father. She's like, I'm the mother.
Yeah.
Which is a big moment. And then he just pulls a chair up and stares at her. And they just stare at each other, like waiting for the first person to fall asleep.
And then she falls asleep.
And he brings the baby. She wakes up, realizing the baby's not in her arms. Like, almost, I don't know. It had to be pretty quick. Mm-hmm. So he hands the baby to the people.
He's got the baby outside, like Simba, like holding it up, and they're all cheering. He hands it to the people. They are passing it.
Pretty intense scene. So she's following through the crowd, trying to get to the baby. As you see it peeing everywhere, crying, and then you hear its neck snap. Or back.
Oh, it's bad.
It's very, very unsettling.
And then she finally pushes her way, and it's just like the carcass of the infant.
But
and
it's
people
ripped
are
apart.
Very clearly eating it.
Eating the body of Christ.
She goes crazy, starts killing people, and then they beat her up, and then God finally comes in. He's holding her, and she goes, make them leave. They killed our son. Make them leave, make them leave, make them leave. And he said, I can't. We have to forgive them.
Yeah, it was an accident.
It was an accident.
They love
didn't
him.
Mean to.
They
love
so sorry.
Him. She says, why do you need them? Why aren't you happy with just me? And he says, I'm never satisfied, or something along that lines. Because if I was satisfied, then I wouldn't create. which is a really good line for God and a really dark and terrible one. Basically, then she
goes nuts. She like rips through everything, goes downstairs to cellar,
grabs a lighter that she stole from Adam, goes downstairs, stabs open that big oil tanker, lights the lighter, and burns the place down. And then in the aftermath of all of the ashes and everything and her burned body, God, who is of course unscathed.
Yes, he's completely unscathed. There's nothing else around except for burning timbers.
Scoops her up, carries her to the office, and they have this moment where she's like, I don't have anything left to give. There's nothing left. And he goes, you still have something. And she says, fine, take it. And he reaches into her chest and pulls out her heart. It was her love that he still wanted. Pulls out her heart, and as her heart crumbles to dust and her body crumbles to dust, what you're left with is a stone. And this stone you had seen in the very beginning of the film. He placed it on a stand, and it made the whole house come back to life from ashes. And that's how the film started. And then during the film, Adam and Eve broke the stone, which made God angry and made him board up his office, basically close himself off for quite a while until the kid was born, basically. And so in this moment, he takes the heart that he's taken from Jennifer Lawrence, he sets it in the holder again, the whole building builds, and in the bed, Mother Earth comes back to life, but it's not Jennifer Lawrence.
And this literal shot for shot and movement for movement. She does the same exact movement that Jennifer Lawrence does, reaching her arm out. So clearly that it's just repeating the same cycle over and over again. And God is trying to make it work, but it never does. So, because he gets caught up in humans every single time.
Yep. And the film actually opened with a shot of somebody burning, which when you get to the end is clearly whoever was Mother Earth before Jennifer Lawrence.
Because it's the same shot that you see with Jennifer Lawrence, except this time, that first time is a completely different face, and then we have it. So clearly Mother Earth looks different every single time.
I would probably give this film a 3 out of 5 stars. I liked it a heck of a lot more than I was expecting to. I don't know that I would necessarily watch it again. I might watch it with somebody who's never seen it before because it'd be interesting to talk about. I did like the way that it was shot. I thought that it was well acted, and I appreciate the allegory, but
and the dedication to the allegory,
yeah,
even more specifically.
But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for me to give it a higher rating. As far as recommendation goes, if you like art films, please go see this film.
I'd give it, I think a 3 is about where I was going as well. I liked it. And it took me a while to think about whether or not I liked it, to be honest, because it's unsettling. She's talking about the way it's shot. It is an unsettling film. And then the last 20 minutes of the film is very uncomfortable. Her getting punched and kicked in the face is hard to watch. The baby getting killed and eaten is very hard to watch. Like, basically from when chaos of the war and all that stuff on, it is very uncomfortable. And if you don't know the allegory, it's insane. If you are a film major or someone that's really...
If you're a film major, you're probably going to be required to watch this movie in the future.
Possibly. I feel like if you're really into film, you should see it. Whether or not you like it, regardless. I think it is important to watch, but it's really hard to recommend it to like general audience. I can't recommend it to a general audience. I would never want my mom or my dad, like they would hate it.
So hopefully you enjoy the review, and I'll see you tomorrow. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Go buy Baby Driver.
Shut up. Okay, you're the worst.
Sorry, I just want to make sure they see a good movie.
No, I'm cutting that out.